How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. We got ourselves some Pokemon news, leaks, all that kind of stuff. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a beverage, put on your hat, and let's get started. First things first, guys, we got this post right here coming to us from PoriLeaks/IGN, which is breaking news. The Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders will begin on April 24th in the US, with the price remaining at $449, which, yes, that means that they are not going to be increasing the prices, which is good, because people were worried for the US. I mean, for the rest of the world, it was the same. For anything in Europe, the price was going to remain that MSRP. However, the MSRP doesn't really matter for Europe because the prices are still higher than that. Like if you're in Sweden, the actual price of the console comes out to about $600. You know, after everything, because and it's always been the case. I mean, even the original Switch is the reason I didn't buy my Switch in Sweden. I actually bought it on vacation in the US, so I bought my first Switch because the price difference was genuinely insane. Like the current Switch, the price you're about to pay for a Switch 2 is the price of a Switch 1 in Sweden. It was always high, which is why most people didn't buy it. Only the ones who were hardcore fans would go out, of course, buy it. But like, you know, it's one of the reasons I avoided buying it there and I bought it somewhere else. I mean, it's literally cheaper going to a nearby country in like, you know, further down south from Sweden and just literally taking a day trip to go and buy it there instead, because it's actually more worth it. Plus you get a little mini vacation out of it. But point is, for you Americans, yes, the pre-orders will continue and they will not be increasing the price from the already, you know, $449, which, to be honest, I'll said this before, the price of the actual console is pretty rough for like anybody outside of the US, because in the US the MSRP is $449, but like everybody outside of the US, unless you're living in a country that has strict like MSRP rules like Germany, the price is always going to be higher. Like if I was still living in Sweden, I would be screwed. Like I genuinely wouldn't be able to afford it. And the actual logistics of getting one from another country can be really hard. Like you might have to pay like a separate service to ship it, and it's a whole hassle, and it's really painful to do. Point being, unless you're in Germany or even Belgium, which has MSRP rules where the price has to stay MSRP, they're not allowed to bump it up by a drastic amount where it would be considered like, you know, like anti-competitive and trying to like screw over customers, right? The consumer. So generally speaking, the price of the actual console is not the issue. The biggest debate, of course, has been about the cost of the games being $80 and everything like that. And in Europe, going up to €90, which in itself comes out to about $100 at that point. So it's like insane pricing for the actual games. The console itself is fine. It's more so about everything else surrounding it, which the games, the fact that you still need to pay for Switch Online, the fact that you're going to have an entire button that's going to be useless unless you pay for, you know, Switch Online, which I don't. I still do not pay for Switch Online. I only pay for like, actually, I don't think I've paid for Switch Online more than once in my life. And the times that I've used it, I've just used the free versions. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, I've just used the free versions, like straight up. I haven't even bothered trying to use like any of the other stuff. I've just used the free version. But either way, when I say about free version, I feel like free trials is what I've been using. But either way, let's move on to the next thing, which is going to be about Pokemon. And this is going to be about Generation 10. So this image was posted on Reddit. It has since been deleted. But basically what it said was like, oh, this is a image. And I'm paraphrasing here, but they basically said something like, this is an image from the Terra leak. And it's from a leaker on one of the private Discords. And somebody leaked out this photo. So here is, you know, here's what it looks like. And all it really shows is a character facing off against, I guess, an Ivysaur that's got a little question mark above its head, which I guess it's reacting to the character, with some, you know, trees and bushes in the background, and it just looks like a regular path. However, this image has not been confirmed fake or real, except for one person, which is Ball Guy. He said, lol, no, sometimes I wonder if it's worth deconfirming things. Misinformation continues to run rampant, though, so I guess it's only fair. Implying that this is fake, right? That this image would be fake, which could be the case. Again, Ball Guy does have actual info. I'm simply, you know, like sharing this information as I see it, as it shows up and all that kind of stuff. So just keep in mind, like I'm literally just sharing the information that I see. So it is possible this image is real, but more than likely it's fake if people like Ball Guy are saying it's fake, but you never know. That's all I'm saying. You never know. This stuff, you know, I don't know how much Ball Guy knows and I don't know how much these other people know, but there's always a chance that it could have some relevance. So just keep that in mind. So that was one of the things. Next up, we have this, and I will be telling you right now, this is possibly the last ever 4chan rumor that we will be reading, because 4chan has been taken down. The entire website got just nuked, okay? It got nuked. A rival board came in and destroyed it, and that basically left us with nothing, except this one post. It's the last post that we will ever see, and I thought it would be fun to read it, because it's talking about, I guess, Pokemon Generation 10. So let's see what it says. It says, Pokemon Abyss and Pokemon Ether. Alas is the region, and it's based on Greece and Turkey. That would be wild. They say that apparently Abyss legendary is Poseidon. It's water and ground type. The Ether legendary is Zeus, flying electric. Again, I would not mind this. I think it would be a cool concept. And again, I do think we more or less have a confirmation that this region is going to be either Italy or Greece. Like, we pretty much know that Gen 10 is going to be based on one of those two countries. So that's not too crazy to assume being real. You know, that's not too far-fetched is what I'm trying to say. So in that regard, makes sense. The names, though, Pokemon Abyss and Pokemon Ether. Pokemon AA. I don't know about that one, dude. sounds like Pikachu literally like had a fucking schnapps or a vodka addiction. He had to go to AA to get. Wait, is it AA or triple? No, it's AA. Triple A is for car, right? It's all the US stuff. Like, it's not called the same in Europe. So either way. Going on, though, they say starters are Grass Dog, European-themed, Fire Cobra, Middle Eastern-themed, and Water Hippopotamus, African-themed. Okay, which kind of is a cool ID, because if you think about it, that one intersection there is literally where, like, if you think about the part where, like, kind of Cyprus is located, like, that entire space of the world is literally, like, where, and also if you think about it, like, Turkey itself is sort of where West meets East, sort of, right? Like, you know, Turkey is considered, you know, by some Europeans, some, Asian, depends on who you ask. But there is a part of Turkey that is considered, and it generally is considered a European country, more so than, I mean, depends on who you ask. If you ask Turkish people, they're going to say European. If you ask somebody else, they might say something else. But point is that, like, it's an interesting space to use for the basis of, like, a region. I think it'd be pretty cool. However, and also I like the idea of, like, mixing together, like, 3 different, like, locations. Like, you got the European, you got the Asian, you got the, African theme. It would be really cool. I think it would genuinely be sick. I think Pokemon is the best when it takes from different cultures and uses different things in its game rather than basing it all off of a singular location. I think it's more fun that way. Moving on, though, they say Meowth gets a regional form based on an Aegean cat, normal water type. You might have to look up an Aegean cat. I'm not sure what they look like, but there you go. Normal water, by the way. Then diving returns with Lantern Evolution. So this is going off of the fact that we have seen a leaked image, like an actual image of Luminion from Gen 10 underwater. And it was also confirmed that, yes, diving is back. Like, we're going to have diving in this game. You're going to be able to dive around and just the stuff we're used to. That is back. So that's an interesting element to keep in mind. So feel free to tell me what you guys think about that. Are you excited about diving returning? Are you not excited? Let me know. They move on, though, saying that apparently running with a normal fighting horse is going to be in the game. Okay. Sky riding with a Pegasus, which is flying electric. All right. I mean, okay. You know what? Okay, sure. They're cooking with that one if they do it. Surfing with a seahorse water steel type. Okay. Surfing with a seahorse water steel type. Huh. A seahorse water steel type. Okay, that could be interesting. A seahorse Pokemon. We have Horsey, and it's an evolutionary line. So I don't know if a new one, how they would make it any different. Then they say climbing with a Cree goat, normal rock type. Okay. Then an underwater city at the deepest point in the sea, and Sky Island in the highest point in Olympus. Again, sounds cool, and it does sound like very reminiscent to like actual things I've heard. Like, it does sound like very reminiscent to things I have genuinely heard. So again, I could see that happening. They say that apparently the story is peak for a Pokemon game, which would be sick. Again, we don't know, like, even what Legends EA is going to look like story-wise, so it'd be interesting. I don't even know. What would you guys consider to be the best story in Pokemon? I'm very curious to know. They say, though, that the Pokesports returns is very fun. Do you mean Pokeathlon from, like, Heart Gold, Soul Silver? Because if that returned, that would be peak right there. That would actually be peak. They move on. Returns for vacation, old characters like Cynthia and Steven. Returns for vacation, old characters like Cynthia and Steven. Okay, that'd be cool. The 2 of them returning would be sick. Only champions have the official competitive scene. Wait, only champions, the Pokemon game champions, has the official competitive scene. Okay, so that would imply there's going to be no competitive and no VGC within the game itself. Rather, that would be fully moved over to specifically to Pokemon champions. Mega's return from ZA. Okay. Mega's returning from ZA. I doubt it. I've heard stuff. I've heard like from the grapevine that megas are going to be gone next gen, as in like they're not going to have any new ones, and mega is not going to be the main feature of the next game. So that's what I've heard. But again, it could be also wrong. Like things may change. Then they say some Pokemon get hyper crossbreeding. One of the themes is between Tauros and Machoke into a new species, a Minotaur. Okay, a hyper crossbreed. What does that mean? Like combining two Pokemon into like breeding two Pokemon together that are not meant to be bred together or something, making a Minotaur. I mean, sure. Then they say November 21st, 2026 for release date, which is a decent release date. I mean, the 21st of November next year. Let's really quickly go all the way on my thing here. 21st is a Saturday, which does not sound like a real day for a Pokemon game release. Like, usually Pokemon doesn't release on Saturdays. It's usually Thursday, Friday is usually when you expect a game to come out. So that doesn't sound that realistic, but anything is possible, right? Like, anything is literally possible. Just keep that in mind. So, yeah. I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on this one, because it's interesting, but I really don't know what to feel about it. Like it could be real. Could be fake. I mean, most likely fake, let's be honest. Like, most likely not real, but there's always a chance, right? It's always a big chance. And like I said, there has been a lot of Gen 10 related leaks. Like, if you want actual information about Gen 10, I think PokeEos has, like, the usual. If we go over here to their website and we go to the main page, and we can go over to, let's see, games, and let's go to leaks. And I think if we go to, not ZA, but specifically, let's go down to, this is all ZA related at the moment right here. We do have, I think, something to do with, well, again, this is all just ZA related stuff. I'm going to do a whole run through of all the ZA stuff, and I'm going to do an entire video going through all of it again. But I'm more so trying to find anything to do with Gen 10, which I think they have on this website, but I cannot seem to find it right now. Maybe it's in the databases, and then we go to, we got to find like the Terra, let's see, Terra leak. If you search like that, here we go. That's ZA Gen 6. Let's see, Gen 10. If we do that, Terra leak overview. Okay, here we go. So we know for a fact, right, that with Gen 10, we know that it's the code name is Gaia. We know for a fact that there is some like hints that there's going to be a K and N version, and people have like sort of tried to figure out that maybe like it's Kami and Nami or whatever or something like that, like implying like water and sky, or sky and water, something like that. But then there's been also other stuff in regards to it, which is kind of been confirmed, like it's going to be island themed, multiple islands, progression by visiting different islands. Each island has distinctive environments with Pokemon adapted to them. A legendary Pokemon's power shapes or influences the island. It's not just an island though, and not an underwater theme, which is interesting because there's some stuff that has been talked about which doesn't match with this information anymore. So who knows? Again, a lot of this stuff could change, but it is stuff that we do know. Like, we know for a fact it's going to be an island-based game. Not just islands, but it's going to be islands that you're going to be traveling between. That's something we know from the Giant Terra League. We know that it's going to be coming out next year for a fact, because next year is going to be next gen. It's going to be Switch 2. So it makes sense. So again, all this stuff is the things we do know. Again, I will do an entire video going through all of this, all the information we do know and all that kind of stuff. We will do that very soon. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for today. Peace out. Have a great day. And bye-bye, ladies and gents.